All right, welcome back. It's the Game Changer. So let me show you how I achieved the look that you just saw. All right, so this is my homeboy Keelan. Been cutting Keelan for years now. Keelan's getting a drop fade with a slight curl on top. And let's talk about what a drop fade actually is, because it's not a drop fade, it's a mid fade. Listen, you can say whatever you want to say. In my brain, if the lower part of that fade, if the back end of that fade is lower than the sides of the fade, it's a drop fade. I don't care where it lines up, but it's not I sick of the bone. I don't care. So it's a drop fade if the back end of the fade is at a lower starting point than the sides of the fade, which is on the temple, which is the area that I'm at now. It's a drop fade. The fade is dropping off in the back. So that in my comment section, I see the comments. I'm not changing my mind, and you can't make me nah. So let's get to it. When it comes to fading and transitioning, right? I'm pretty sure the most important part. Well, I'm going to say the most important part. Let me affirm. Let me have some affirmation. Let me be confident in my verbiage. The most important part is having a really good system. And I like this 2-line method I have here. So that first line you just saw me put in was the primary line. And the second line that you see me putting in, and I'm gonna try to break this down over the whole video, make this a fading tutorial so that we can work this out together. This is the secondary line. All right, the reason, and so you have a primary line, secondary line, primary space, which is the light space, a secondary space, which is the dark space. How do I bring these 4 areas together? And I'm just going over the whole system, right? I'm trying to break it down as though you've never heard me talk about this, and then as if you're a new barber who was brought here after doing a horrible haircut in barber school and you don't want to do that anymore, so you're trying to figure out how the hell do I get this done? Okay. If you see right now, what I'm doing is I'm taking that primary line that I just spoke about and I'm blending it in. I'm just taking it and I'm blending it in. I'm not taking it away. Sometimes, when you're a young barber, you just want to cut it out because oh, cut that line out. No, you don't cut the line out, you blend the line in. And what I'm blending that line into is that primary section, which is that light area. I want to make that line transition into that light space. Why? Believe it or not, this is the most important part, because your whole entire fade revolves around how this line is blended in. You can do a great secondary section of fade, but if that bottom line isn't even, if it's squiggly, if it's not faded in with a nice clean, crisp, defined transition, the fade won't work, right? Because everything falls on, it's like the base, right? When you build a house, if your concrete slab is not poured and if it's not strong, then no matter how good you put the frame of the house up, it's gonna crumble at some point. So the fade won't look perfect and symmetrical if this primary line is not blended in well. And that's why, okay, another thing I get, look right here. If you put it in with the trimmers, how do you get it out? With the trimmers. Or I turn the clippers into a reverse tiger claw method, which I'll show you at another time. But yeah, I take it out with what I put it in with after I blend it in, because the lighter the area, the easier it is for me to blend it in. Now, if I try to take that primary line out, the one I just faded, as soon with that trimmer, right when I put the line in, I'll gap it because it's too much hair. But once the hair is lighter, it's easier to fade and transition. And that goes with any part of the hair. Like right now, I'm debulking. So I just blended in the primary line to the primary section, right? So now I'm debulking this secondary section. This is why it's important to debulk. Let's say if I was to take my guard off and just start fading it in, right? Or if I took my one guard and start fading it in, that hair is so thick and dense with that smaller guard, no matter how much I pull the lever back on the clipper, that area is still thick, so I'll gap it. I'll take chunks of it off because of the density. So what I want to do first is debulk first, right? First I debulk, then I start to fade down. So I'll fade from a 1.5, or I debulk with a 1.5. I'll kind of debulk and fade with a 1, then I'll come with my clippers open. That is pretty much the whole simple in a nutshell. So now you just kind of get to watch me do it. I'm just debulking. I'm looking for certain spots that's a little denser than other areas. And another thing, when you're cutting hair, don't feel like you have to rely on the entire clipper blade the whole time. Look, I'm using the corner of the clipper to hit certain spots because every area doesn't have the same amount of density, right? So yeah, I really feel like if you just rewind and take your time to hear what I just said or hear what you just heard, right, in other context, Bro, I'm telling you, that's a game changer. See what I did there? Double entendre. Anyway, yeah, I'm so funny. Let me stop. So now, remember I just said that was a 1.5. Now this is the 1 guard. Then I'll go with no guard. But it just really is steps and patience. I mean, you all, super, it's simple the more you practice it, right? But I feel like the system is always simple, but it's easier to execute the more you practice. And also, we'll talk about hand placement on the clippers. Also, don't be stiff, right? You have to have a smooth stroke. You kind of want to stroke out as you go in with the clipper. So as I approach the client's scalp, I'm fading into the scalp, but as I lift that blade up, I'm kind of fading out. It's funny because I'm sitting here doing the hand motions like you see me. I got to do it in person class, and we can break this all down in person. I feel like that'll really help. But yeah, another thing. So along with hand placement and just not being too aggressive, use the offhand. I'm just not gonna use a basketball analogy, but use the offhand. I'm using the offhand to stretch the skin. What I'm doing is, when I stretch your skin, I'm making a larger workspace, because you see how when I stretch, it expands that scalp or the hair on the skull. Yeah, so, hold on. My Google bar just popped up. Sorry about that. So yeah, now also another good important point to note, use a comb. See, when I use that comb, see how it spaces the hair back out versus a brush, which will clump the hair up. And sometimes it can give you a very inconsistent fade. See, right now when you use a comb, it makes the fade much cleaner. And it's a smooth transition. I'm not even done with the fade, but do you all see how that's coming together? It was so, it's a simple method. Don't make it hard on yourselves. I mean, debulk, primary line, secondary line, primary section, secondary section. And then I want you to blend the primary line into the primary section. And then I want you to debulk the secondary section before you start to blend it in, and it'll all come together, okay? I want you all to execute this. Listen, I'm going to be retiring at some point. So someone's going to have to take my spot at the top of the game. I don't know who it's going to be, but I'm giving you everything you need to have to take my spot. All right? I'm just talking today. I'm excited, man. It's a beautiful day outside. The weather is nice. I'm blessed. I woke up. My wife's still here. My kid's still here. I'm still here, and I got all my limbs, so I feel good. I'm just talking. All right, you all watch. Oh, never mind. We're back. So you see how I debulked, right? Now is when I blend the secondary section. That secondary line to the secondary section. And now, I don't know if you all want to go back and rewind and look at how that primary line was. Remember how I spoke on the primary line is the defining factor on how the fade looks as an end result? You see how even though this line is starting to vanish, you still see that the fade takes the shape or the form of that primary line. All right, you all watch me finish this up, and I will be back when it's time for the edge up. All right, time for the edge up. So first thing I want to do whenever I have a client that's kind of got curls in the front, I want to apply a generous amount of shave gel. Why? Because the more shave gel I apply, the heavier it is on the hair, so it lays it down. Luckily, I don't have to do too much debulking on my boy Keelan's edge up because he has a hair texture that lays down pretty smoothly anyway. It's a more fine, thinner hair texture, so it's easier. And after I lay the hair down, what I like to do is stretch the skin with my offhand to tighten the skin. Then I come back and I apply the razor. If you use a nice quality blade and a good quality shave gel, then it won't require much. If you notice, my stroke is not really aggressive on the razor handle. Something light, and I keep the edge up nice and natural. I want to find out where his hair grows the thickest at. Obviously, I want to line both sides up to make sure that it's symmetric. And then, I work from there. Then I use a combination of my razor and my edgers, especially on the side, because hit the side of his hair goes forward towards his nose. So I actually, brush the hair out, and then I'll create that primary line. I create the desired line, and then I come back and take the remaining hairs off with the razor. All right, and then I go against the grain and get those little stubbles too, as you're gonna see me do next. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Stay tuned. Remember, I have a shave gel dropping very, very soon. So if you can go to my website to subscribe for me. Also, we drop some blogs as well. Some of the talking points and some of the tools that I use that I don't kind of mention in the video, they'll be on the blog, on our website, our website, which carries the blog. It's GameChangerCosmetics.com. I would appreciate y'all's support. Oh, let me stop right there. So what I'm doing now, and a little illusion trick I have, if you take the razor, clean the outermost part of that temple, and then come back and blend that in with the clippers, it'll make that fade look even cleaner. You don't even have to use the razor all the way around. It's more of an illusion technique that I use. All right, so yeah, you all subscribe to the website, GameChangerCosmetics.com. I appreciate all of your support over the years. Stay tuned, more fire content. I got a lot of transformations coming to me. I just gotta sit down and get edited. So stay tuned, content coming. I really appreciate you all watching. If you stuck around to the end, comment this word, winner. If you stayed around to the end, comment winner. Let's see who stuck around to the end. Stay tuned.